Behind all the success stories and cultural impact, there's a harsh reality that often goes unnoticed. The black community faces struggles that are rarely talked about. Economic barriers, systematic inequality, and mental health barriers. But why, and what can be done about it? Today, we're breaking down the unseen struggles of the black community, using real clips, real voices, and real solutions. Stay until the end, because this might just change the way you see the world.
This world is such a, and when I say this world, I mean it. I don't mean in an ideal sense. I mean in every day, every little thing you do. It's such a, gimme, gimme, gimme. Everybody back off. You know, everybody's like, you taught that from school, everywhere. Big business, you want to be successful, you want to be like Trump, gimme, 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 push, 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 step, 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 crush, crush, crush. That's how it all is. And it's like, nobody ever stopped. Just, you know, I feel like everybody's smart enough to know that, I mean, we've been slighted, and we want ours. And I don't mean by, like, ours, 40 acres and a mule, because we're past that. But we need help. I mean, for us to be on our own 2 feet, us meaning youth, or us meaning black people, whatever you want to take it for us to be on our own 2 feet, we do need help. Because we have been here, we have been a good friend. If you want to make it a relationship type thing, we have been there, and now we deserve our payback. It's like, you got a friend that you don't never look out for. You know, you dressed up in jewels. Now America's got jewels, and they paid and everything, and they lending money to everybody except us. You know what I'm saying? Or, look, okay, I know you're rich. I know you got $40 billion, but can you just keep it to one house? You only need one house. And if you only got 2 kids, can you just keep it to 2 rooms? I mean, why have 52 rooms and you know there's somebody with no room? It just don't make sense to me. They don't. And then these people celebrate Christmas. They got big trees, huge trees, all the little trimmings. Everybody got gifts, and then somebody's starving. And they're having a white Christmas. They're having a great Christmas, eggnog and a whole nine. That's not fair to me.
Tupac wasn't just a rapper, he was a voice for the people. He called out the economic oppression that keeps black families struggling, even when they work twice as hard. Think about it. How many black neighborhoods are flooded with liquor stores and check cashing places, but barely have banks or fresh groceries? That's not by accident. This isn't just about individuals working harder. It's a system designed to keep certain people in survival mode while others thrive effortlessly.
What the world does to you, if the world does it to you long enough and effectively enough, you begin to do it to yourself. You become a collaborator, an accomplice of your own murderers, because you believe the same things they do. No, they think it's important to be white, and you think it's important to be white. They think it's shameful to be black, and you think it's shameful to be black. And you have no corroboration around you of any other sense of life. You know, all those corroborations which are around you are, in terms of the white majority standards, so deplorable. They frighten you to death. You don't eat watermelon. You know, you get so rigid you can't dance. You know, you can hardly move by the time you're 14. You know, you're always scrubbed and shining. You know, a parody of God knows what. Because no white person has been, you know, as clean as you have been forced to become. And you got somehow to begin to break out of all of that and try to become yourself. You know, it's hard for anybody, but it's very hard if you're born black in a white society. Hard because you've got to divorce yourself from the standards of that society.
Baldwin honestly said it best. Being black in America is like carrying a weight nobody else can see. Imagine growing up knowing the world views you as a threat before they see you as a human. The mental and emotional toll is real. This is why mental health in the black community is such a silent crisis. Generations of trauma, racial profiling, and limited access to therapy create a cycle of pain that most people never escape.
Floor is always economics, because racism is economics. Racism has nothing to do with who you like, who you don't like. It has nothing to do with it. Only when they beat up on you now because they know you don't have any economics. You don't have a basis beneath you. When they drag you shooting black folk, they're not shooting you because you're black. They're shooting you because of your social economic condition. You're powerless. They know the only thing you're going to do, they shoot 20 blacks tomorrow. Only thing you're going to do is go out and march. That's all you're going to do. They know that. You have no power and wealth. You build that business community and you build factories and industries in there. And you produce wealth and money and income. Then you take that wealth and money and income and you use it to benefit and lift your people. And you use it also to take the surplus capital and you go to the second floor in that 5-story building. On the second floor in that 5-story building, that's politics. That's politics. That's what your politicians are. Quit letting people mislead you about voting. Voting ain't worth a damn if you don't have an economy. I have run political campaigns for presidents, for governors, for attorney generals, for congressional people, for mayors, and city council people. Politics, voting and politics ain't worth a quarter in voting if you don't have an economy. It's money that controls your politics. You take your money on that first floor in the powernomics concepts that I'm trying to get you all to buy into. You take that money off the first floor, you buy every politician on the second floor. Don't worry about voting, buy them. Be just like the mafia. Be like the mafia. Just buy them. If you don't have enough money to buy them, then rent or lease them for a while. You rent and lease them. Then you commission him and say, now on the second floor, now that I bought you, just like all this next election, you can see all this money going into all these candidates, billions and millions of dollars. They're buying those politicians. You buy them on the second floor. And then you tell them on the second floor, now, down in the powernomics principles I bought your rear end, you now take your rear end to the third floor. And on the third floor, that's your court system.
So here's the real game. Money is power. And for centuries, black people were systematically locked out of wealth building opportunities, redlining, denied business loans, and being forced into low-paying jobs. But this doesn't mean we're powerless. We have to play the long game. Ownership, group economics, and financial literacy are keys to breaking these cycles. That's why platforms like this exist, to educate and empower, not just expose the problem.
You tell me and prove to me that black people are violent and that they're going to take over, and I can open up the New York Daily News and show you white people who are killing their daughters, their husbands, their wives, their children, killing each other off. Well, if we put that in the paper and make it black and white, which is where the whole thing happens, it's in the paper. If a black man does something, it says, John Jones, black this, said black, 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 and did the black, black. Now, if a white man does it, it isn't white man Jones, it's just a man. Nondescript, just a regular old raggedy man, went out, killed his 2 daughters and his wife, and shot himself. Now, if he does that, then everybody seems to just either sympathize with it or let it go out the window. But if a black man does it, then any white bigot can point his finger and say, see that? There they go again. Well, that isn't right.
You ever notice how the media portrays black communities? They'll highlight crimes but ignore the success stories. They'll show you black on black violence but won't mention that every race commits crimes within their own communities. Bill Cosby called this out decades ago, and it's still happening today. The way people see us is shaped by what they're shown. That's why platforms like this, telling our own stories, are so important.
Inspire those who look up to you to expect more of themselves. We know that too many young men in our community continue to make bad choices. And I have to say, growing up, I made quite a few myself. Sometimes I wrote off my own failings as just another example of the world trying to keep a black man down. I had a tendency sometimes to make excuses for me not doing the right thing. But one of the things that all of you have learned over the last 4 years is there's no longer any room for excuses. Not because the bitter legacy of slavery and segregation have vanished entirely, they have not. Not because racism and discrimination no longer exist. We know those are still out there. It's just that in today's hyper-connected, hyper-competitive world, with millions of young people from China and India and Brazil, many of whom started with a whole lot less than all of you did, all of them entering the global workforce alongside you, nobody is going to give you anything that you have not earned. Nobody cares how tough your upbringing was. Nobody cares if you suffered some discrimination. And moreover, you have to remember that whatever you've gone through, it pales in comparison to the hardships previous generations endured, and they overcame them, and if they overcame them, you can overcome them too. You now hail from a lineage and legacy of immeasurably strong men who bore tremendous burdens and still laid the stones for the path on which we now walk. You wear the mantle of Frederick Douglass and Booker T. Washington and Ralph Bunche and Langston Hughes and George Washington Carver and Ralph Abernathy and Thurgood Marshall and, yes, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. These men were many things to many people, and they knew full well the role that racism played in their lives, but when it came to their own accomplishments and sense of purpose, they had no time for excuses.
So here's the flip side. Despite everything, we continue to rise. Black innovators, creators, and leaders are changing the game in every field. From technology to entertainment, business to activism, the black community has never been stronger. The struggles are real, but so is the power we have to change them. It starts with awareness, action, and unity. If this message hit home, drop a comment below. What's the biggest struggle you've seen in the black community? Let's talk about it. And if you believe in black empowerment through knowledge, hit that like button, subscribe to Black Elevators, and share this with someone who needs to hear it.